Miami's averaged 17 points a game over his last 8, so he picked up right where he's left off over those last 8 games.
Miami to inbounds.
Mark Gottfried making himself useful over there, cleaning up something off the floor so he can start.
Blocked out of bounds. Lorenzo Brown. Jim Larinaga, first year head coach, 28th overall, 14 seasons at George Mason, 5 NCAA appearances, including that Final Four in 2006. Big high rebound and a foul against C.J. Williams.
C.J. Williams, yeah. Ryan Brown was going after the rebound, and Williams had him on the arm, had him by the arm, and the referee caught him. Well, Miami now shooting only 4 for 14.
Some new players into the game for Miami. Jones with a spinning move. And this foul's going against NC State. Miami wants the hoop as well, but the indication right now is it will just be a foul against Deshaun Painter and be his first.
The NC State bench, they want a traveling violation, but probably the push that he experienced helped with that travel.
So prior to the shot, so no foul shots, but the first on Howell. Howell has one and Painter has one now for NC State. Trey McKinney-Jones with the ball, also into the game for Miami. Here is Johnson against Painter.
Johnson is just so good. He's such a big man. He moves very well. Nice feet, nice hands. That was a nice little touch with the left hand.
Reggie Johnson, 6'10", 284 pounds from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Painter.
Painter had a pretty good game the last time these two teams played, and one of the things where Reggie Johnson was weak defensively is trying to get out and guard a guy who can shoot the jump shot. So Painter, he's a guy who can make that 12 to 15-foot shot.
Johnson trying to work his way. The help came from Leslie.
Johnson is not a guy who's going to pass it much once he gets it in there, so North Carolina State did a nice job of that.
Lorenzo Brown. Leslie gets it. Second effort. Bounces off, but he's going to the line. Reggie Johnson picking up that foul for Miami. C.J. Leslie at the line when we come back. Back by 5. Winners of this season's Market Pass promotions are Jeff Denton from Holly Springs and Marilyn Kroger from Raleigh. Jeff won a set of Michelin tires. Gotcha. Well, somebody else had a good game. Last piece, welcome to court students Elton Cranford, James Thomas, and Richardson Pate. Elton, James, and Richardson finished top 3 in the student attendance loyalty rewards contest.
Painter had 18 points. Wood had 21 points.
Wood had 21, that's right. Reggie's got 6, right? Copy, Reggie. That's right, there it is. I knew I'd put that in there. I was looking for it, but couldn't find the note. I knew I had it somewhere. Okay. Okay. I love these posters. Awesome. Versus the rest of the team. Main guys right now. Go down. Copy that.
Time to pay off this. Red with music. 6, 5 to red with music. 4, 3, 2, 1, and roll red up.
our State Farm player profile is Reggie Johnson, the junior for the Canes.
Well, Reggie Johnson is a guy, when he gets the ball inside close to the basket, he's hard to stop. And he has the ability with those quick feet of his to make some moves with his back to the basket, even when he isn't right in the lane. And that's what you saw right there. Now, he's on the bench because he has picked up a personal foul. There's 3 for 6 field goal shooting. The rest of the team is only 2 for 11.
Reggie Johnson had his best night in early February at Duke in that overtime win. Career high 27 points. Also came back from a knee injury earlier this season as well, Dan.
Well, Reggie is actually over there on the bench having a conversation with official Sean Hull, discussing the last little contretemps under the basket that resulted in a personal foul for Reggie. But that seemed to be a very pleasant conversation. And if you're Reggie, it's always a good idea to stay on the good side.
Yes.
Different kind of lineup right now for Miami, basically playing with 4 guards. This is where Kaji can be very effective because he can play with his back to the basket as well.
You got Brown for 3 by Kaji.
Kaji is a little bit better passer than Reggie Johnson on the inside, so that was a nice job to find the open man. Miami now, with a little bit smaller lineup, drops back into his zone.
And the lead for NC State now 4. Johnson misfires. This is Scott.
Miami has really worked hard to get the ball into the lane and attack the basket.
Haji beyond the arc. Leslie had a piece of it, goes out of bounds and will stay with Miami.
You know, you go with a little bit smaller lineup, but one of the smaller guys for Miami is Daquan Jones, and he is very athletic, very strong. Even though he's not 6'11" like Reggie Johnson, he can play very effectively on the inside.
Got the roll.
That's a nice play by Ryan Brown. They posted him up on the inside against Scott Wood, and even though Wood has an inch or 2 in height, Brown a little bit stronger, and that's one way to get after Wood, attacking.
Brown came off the bench with 9 points in that win Sunday against Florida State. Miami with a turnaround. Skirts out to Williams. Wood will waste no time. A big rebound for Miami and Ryan Brown.
Well, he missed that one badly. You usually don't see Wood miss one that far. It looked like the ball slid off the side of his hand.
Chance to tie or go ahead for Miami. Jones misses.
Now, Jones has 3-point range, but that's not the best part of his game. I'm not sure that that's the shot Jim Larinaga wanted that early in the shot clock.
Miami now 2 for 9 from beyond the arc. 2 for 6 for NC State, make it 2 for 7. So Wood, who struggled against Clemson from 3-point range, also having a tough time here in Miami, has now tied this ball game.
That's a great job by the Hurricanes to push the ball up the court. Ryan Brown and Daquan Jones did a great job keeping Richard Howell off the board so the Hurricanes could get that rebound.
Every direction.
They got Howell for an offensive foul. That's 2 fouls on Richard Howell, and there have been times this year when he's been a little foul prone. That's a nice job by Ryan Brown. You know, he's made a basket coming in the game, gotten a big rebound, and that time he gets himself just outside the restricted area. And so when Howell runs over him, he picks up his 2nd foul.
So Howell has to sit down.
And that's a real problem for North Carolina State. Durant Scott was posted up inside against Johnson. He really wanted the ball.
Kaji against Painter. Kaji determined to score, and he does.
Well, that's what happens when you kick the ball out to the 3-point shot. The defense doesn't come and help quite as aggressively, and Kaji had a lot of time to make that move. Miami back to the man-to-man.
last 4 field goal opportunities. Miami taking its first lead of the ball game here, 2018. Painter wants to tie it.
Again, Painter's pretty good with that jump shot.
Painter went for 18 points and 7 rebounds. When the teams met in late January, a win for NC State. Jones into the paint with the kick. Missed from the corner by Brown. Wood in rhythm.
And that's Scott Wood right there in transition. When North Carolina State can find him in transition, Wood is very, very effective.
He is now 2 of 5 from long distance, after making just 1 3-pointer in the overtime loss at Clemson on Saturday. Foul against the Wolfpack. So Scott Wood open off the feed from Johnson, and he rings it up. Pack by 3.
Now from Marathon Phillips Road, watch a video board for tonight's lucky section in row. Congrats to section 129, row Z. Tonight's winner.
What do you got?
I got no shot at seeing that.
Okay, fans, Live Center of Carolina t-shirt.
Wendy, I'll trade you. Thank you. Wendy's first. Right. Yes. Copy. You got that? I want you to do the whole thing, Dan. Okay.
You know, that's too far away to see, and the telestrator is well fuzzy.
You know, like on your big 70-inch television, it's huge.
The funny thing there is Tom trying to show me something there. I got no chance at seeing it.
I can barely see it, even with my contacts in. State's big lead was 7? Okay. Oh, I know. They use a lot of guys. Larkin, Scott, Grant, Kenny Jones, Quan Jones, Brown, Kaji Johnson. Jeez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. 20 back out. %, State.
8-7 to the rejoin. 6-5. Wait on your push there, Burlington. It's a flag waving thing. 2, 1, and hit your rejoin.
The Wolfpack up by 3 against the Hurricanes. 7.5 to go in the first half. Now it's our Wendy's first. For head coach Jim Larinaga and the Canes defeating 2 ranked teams, Duke and most recently Florida State on Sunday, ranked number 15 in the country.
Of course, that Duke win was at Duke, and that's a really big win from an RPI perspective. Of course, the RPI is that strength index that's used by, one of the items used by the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee in determining who gets those at-large bids. Not the only one, obviously, and not necessarily the main one, but it's an important one.
And that win at Duke on February 5th was first in program history for Miami. A couple of free throws from Malcolm Grant, who now has 5 points. Reggie Johnson into the game for Miami. He is the leading scorer for the Canes with 6. Grant has 5. Ryan Brown has 5 off the bench. The runner by Brown, and he appeared to come up favoring his left leg.
Limping.
Kaji for everything. Attempted save.
Great hustle.
Miami.
Great hustle by Durant Scott. I think Scott Wood thought the ball was going out of bounds.
there. Kicked ahead to Johnson. Brown scoops it up, and he got it.
We talked earlier in the game about NC State being a much better team when they can get out in transition, and this is really a nice job by Johnson to push the ball up the court and then find Lorenzo Brown. That was a situation where Kenny Kaji had the opportunity to just sort of float it up over the rim, but he elected to go for the dunk, and when he missed it, that allowed NC State to get out and run.
Malcolm Grant picked up his first personal on the play.
Lorenzo Brown is still shaking that left leg a little bit, like maybe he's still bothered by an ankle problem. Didn't really see much evidence of it on that drive to the basket.
Brown has 4 points. NC State with a 25-22 lead against Miami. 6:25 to go in the first half. Tom Wormy, Dan Bonner, and our outstanding ACC production crew with you in Raleigh. Here's Larkin slashing his way. Painter grabbed it for NC State. Johnson it over to Leslie.
Reggie Johnson fell down, and so North Carolina State had a 5-on-4, and once again it's Alex Johnson pushing the ball up the court and taking advantage of the mismatch situation.
11 now to C.J. Leslie. Leads all scorers as he goes into double figures with the dunk. Kaji has a chance at a three-point play.
Mark Gottfried is upset with that particular call, but he's not upset with this. Alex Johnson gets the ball up the court very quickly in transition. This is what it looks like in regular speed. They're just coming right up the court at you. Interestingly enough, Miami now has 10 field goals in the game, but only 1 assist on those 10 field goals. And so we said they've been trying hard to drive the ball to the basket.
We're going to make their 35.
The officials have pulled up the monitor at the scorer's table. Larinaga wants an explanation. Mark Gottfried is getting one from Sean Hull. So again, it was Kenny Kaji with the shot.
And one of the things that they are permitted to do is to go over there and see who was fouled, and I think that if that's what they're looking for, it's Kenny Kaji.
C.J. Leslie picked up the foul.
Jim Larinaga say, what are you talking about?
Stepping to the line, but Jim Larinaga still with a look of dismay as this man gets up there to try to complete the three-point play.
I don't know why he would be dismayed. Kaji made the basket. He was fouled. He's going to the line for one. So whatever the delay was or whatever the confusion was, it's all straightened out and straightened out correctly.
Well, the officials wanted to get it right. Kaji at the free throw line, and he completes it.
After Kaji got fouled, he did stumble back and was almost by half court, and so that may have been the source of the confusion for the officials.
Kaji the rebound.
You see, Painter's going to be able to get that jump shot anytime he wants to.
Long rebound towards our broadcast position. Johnson couldn't grab it. It'll stay with the Canes. And Johnson kind enough to return the box score back to the announcers to our right.
That's the Miami radio crew, and Alex Johnson. He really did. He got his hand stuck on one of the stat sheets, and he was kind enough to hand it right to him.
Johnson, a graduate student who was honored before the game with a couple of his teammates, C.J. Williams and Kendall Smith, seniors.
I don't know that I would want to keep a stat sheet with a sweaty handprint.
Follow and good. It's got to be Kaji again.
Right, now keep in mind that Howell is on the bench with those 2 personal fouls. He's been on the bench a while. He's coming in the game right now. So now that's Deshaun Painter who's picked up a second personal foul. I think Lorenzo Brown got a hand on that one, but Kaji in perfect position and scores the basket. So Miami, they're not shooting the ball well from the outside. There's a lot of one-on-one drives to the basket. Though you mentioned there's not a lot of assists, but they're really starting to dominate the interior.
Kaji now with 7. 15 points in the win against Florida State for Kaji, and a career-high 5 blocks in that huge win against the number 15 Seminoles on Sunday. Leslie with the drive to help came from Johnson, but a foul against the Canes.
I think that's Kaji who's going to pick up the foul. That's a nice job by C.J. Leslie. He saw a path and he took it. I'm not sure that Kaji is quick enough to stay in front of C.J. Leslie if Leslie's going to be aggressive driving to the basket. The help is going to have to come a little sooner.
That foul is the first on Kaji with 4:52 to go in the first half. We're tied at 27. NC State led by as many as 7 in the first half. And now with that free throw, they go back in front.
C.J. Leslie only about a 62% free throw shooter on the season, and he gets to the line a lot.
He is 3 for 4 from the free throw line in the game and 12 points, the lead all scorers for C.J. Leslie, who averages close to 14 per game.
Malcolm Grant is having a tough time getting loose from Lorenzo Brown. Brown about 6'5", a couple of inches on Grant.
Back out to Brown. Surveys the landscape, gives it to Wood for 3.
That's the landscape you want to survey. Wood in transition. He is hard to stop out there. And even though you're taught to get in transition, to get back in the lane and build your defense out from there, you simply have to find Scott Wood. You cannot allow him that kind of time and room to shoot that 3.
And here's a steal by Howell. And a foul called. So we'll take a timeout. Mark Gottfried has 3 3-pointers from Scott Wood. Reggie Johnson picking up that last foul with the back in front.
Updated standings on the backside.
Mike will start
We continue through the end of the season. Visit HarrisTeam.com or go pay.com to enter. You can win $100 in Harris Team gift card.
Toyota question. Thank you, Dan. Right. Great. Next Thursday, Atlanta. Everybody concur? Will do. Nice crowd. Yeah,
It's late in the season,
and the red blends in with the red seats too. So
North Carolina State's in contention.
Time for the Toyota trivia question. Here it is. How many times has a team played 4 straight games in the ACC tournament and won it? We'll give you that answer momentarily. Next Thursday, they crank up the tournament in Atlanta.
That is a very difficult task. And so, because that's such a difficult task, you'd like to get one of the top 4 seeds because then you get a bye in the first round on Thursday, and you don't have to worry about that. But if you're a number 5 or 6 seed, you actually get one more game, and sometimes that might help you get an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament.
Larkin anticipation, trying to beat Johnson to the rim.
Larkin is a very solid defender. He's among the leaders in the ACC in steals, and you can see why. He just saw that one coming and went and got it.
Freshman from Orlando picks it off and takes it in for his first bucket of the game. Only 3.5 to go. Foul on the drive by C.J. Leslie.
NC State has basically dominated the transition opportunities in this game. It's 15 points to now 9 by Miami. The Hurricanes have had very few opportunities like that, but Shane Larkin's a guy who can create them. And there's Leslie drawing the foul once again. That time he went by Daquan Jones. But there again, you know, he's attempted, that's now his 5th free throw attempt of the game, so he's got 138 free throw attempts total on the year. And when you're only shooting close to 60%, you're not as efficient as you would like to be, as your team needs you to be if you get to the line that much.
13 points for C.J. Leslie. That's 4 of 6 from the free throw line in the first half. We approach the 3-minute mark. 3-point lead for the Pack.
Oh, that's great defense. My goodness.
Leslie with the block.
Well, he moved his feet, cut off the dribbler, Daquan Jones, and then blocked the shot. That was fabulous.
Larkin with the kick. Off of Miami, out of bounds, back to State.
This is a great job. Moving his feet. Quickly he gets set, and then just swats it out of the way with one of his first steps.
Fourth block of the game for NC State. Miscommunication between Howell and Johnson, and the 4th turnover of the game for the Pack.
Miami still sitting on that just 1 assist. So NC State doing a nice job forcing the Hurricanes to finish in traffic when one of them drives the ball to the basket.
Bounces in for Durant Scott.
But that's a very, very tough shot. Miami has made its share of tough shots here in the first half.
Scott coming off that 17 points performance to lead the way for Miami. The big win against Florida State. Wood picks up another 3. Howell grabs it off the offensive glass.
4 rebounds in the game for Howell.
Johnson tried to give it off to Leslie. It's out of bounds and will stay with the Wolfpack.
Johnson has done a really nice job in transition finding open guys. That time, he almost was able to squeeze that one through.
44% shooting in the first half for NC State, just below their season average. 46. Howell comes flying in there, but you see him grab the right ankle right away. And we get a foul against the Canes. Coming up on the State Farm halftime report, we'll look around the ACC with Andre Aldridge and a stinger. First half highlights, analysis, and stats as Durant Scott has picked up his first foul. That's the State Farm halftime report. Stick around for that.
That was a break for Miami that Scott picked up that foul, not Kenny Kaji, who was in the neighborhood.
Wood has 3 3-point baskets in the first half. Howell fighting, losing the battle to the Canes as Jones came away with it.
Oh, he shot that one in traffic.
This is Grant for 3. It's his second 3. Johnson pulls up. Kaji over his own teammate for the rebound.
Miami on a little bit of a surge right here.
Foul and the hoop. Daquan Jones.
One of the few times that we've seen the Hurricanes drive into the lane and able to get an assist out of it. Now that's 3 fouls on Richard Howell. So he's going to have to leave for the last minute and 9 seconds. And here comes Deshaun Painter, who also has 2 fouls. So remember we were talking about Miami driving the ball to the basket and not getting assists. Well, one of the things that they've been able to do, they've been able to score the ball on those drives and also draw fouls from the NC State big guys.
Mark Godfrey also his first year here at NC State.
I think he's done a really nice job here in Raleigh.
Inside of a minute. Miami has taken a 4-point lead. Near steal, saved by Painter.
Wolfpack suddenly a little sloppy with the basketball, and that's what has enabled Miami to have this little spurt.
Shot clock is at 5 to Brown. Into traffic against 3 defenders.
That's some shot.
That is 6 now for Lorenzo Brown in the first half. A 2-point game, 25 seconds to go with the shot clock off.
And Jim Larinaga telling his guys, one shot. Wolfpack content to play back, not pressure the ball.
Scott trying to do it himself. Jones, little leaner, fall away. Taken by Scott, scoops it up. Tapped up again. And the clock runs out.
Well, that was a whole lot more than one shot.
Several chances for Jim Larinaga and the Miami Hurricanes.
That's what I like to put the warm-up on. We did show you C.J. Williams. We understand that he got hit in the head, and they have actually taken him back to the locker room.
1-point lead for NC State. They won 3 in a row in the series. Leslie asserting himself.
Yeah, Leslie's just having a great game tonight. There's not anything that Miami can do with it. That's great ball movement by North Carolina State, and Leslie remains very active. He's been finding the open spots.
He started with a 3-pointer early in the game, had 13 in the first half, now has 7 in the second half. Leads everybody. Jones, that's a 2-point basket.
That's Miami's first basket in a while.
Painter with the jam.
How about that move by Brown? Little reverse dribble, and then off he goes.
We've been told that C.J. Williams has returned to that NC State bench. He looks eager to get back in the game. His team up by 3. Trailed by 2 at halftime. NC State had built a 7-point lead in the first half, but Miami came back. Shot clock at 5.
Again, great job by Leslie moving his feet.
Hockey well defensed by Painter. Tip up, no. Brown got it. And a foul against Miami.
Ryan Brown really getting off the floor, but just not able to tip it in. This is a tough shot. Good defense. They got to fling that up there, and Ryan Brown had a couple of tips at it. 15 offensive rebounds in the game now for Miami.
Troy McKinney-Jones, number 4 for Miami, was assessed that last foul.
Miami drops back into his zone.
Johnson freed himself up, blazed the front rim.
Johnson's not really noticed for his offensive contributions in terms of scoring. He's an assist guy.
Just 35% from the floor in the season for Alex Johnson.
Johnson does a nice job right there preventing Ryan Brown from driving into the lane.
It is Brown. Lorenzo Brown brings it up for NC State. Wants to go right down Broadway. Off of the hands of Painter. Miami grabs it. Durant Scott. You saw Scott and Lorenzo Brown get tangled up, and now Brown has his first personal foul.
And that's exactly what happened. They did get tangled up. Reggie Johnson, okay, he's got that warm-up off. He's back in the game. NC State, for the most part, has done a nice job getting back on defense, and they really haven't allowed Miami to have very many transition opportunities. Williams back in the game. Well, we're glad to see that. Of course, training staffs nowadays are very, very careful when somebody gets hit in the head.
The Jones was tapped on that shot attempt by Scott Wood. It's a second on Wood.
It's a break for North Carolina State that he's inside the three-point arc, so that's a two-point shot, not a three-point shot.
So Trey McKinney-Jones to the free throw line for the Miami Hurricanes.
Jones doesn't go there very much. In ACC play, he's only been to the line for 9 times, made 6 of them. You know, win on the road, you got to make your free throws. Miami 5 of 8 from the line as a team.
Junior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Missed them both. He had 11 points off the bench in the win against Florida State, yet to score tonight. Miami with 9 of 20 from three-point range in that 78-62 win against the Seminoles. Powell got grabbed on the forearm by Ryan Brown.
Powell can be such a force on the inside, and it has really hampered North Carolina State that Howell has only played 12 minutes in the game, a little more than that now, but he's had to spend a lot of time on the bench in foul trouble. Nowhere close to those averages tonight, only 2 points.
It was 9.2 rebounds for Howell, 4th best in the ACC, and that'll say it all on that NC State bench. Remember, Mark Gottfried's team is in the midst of a 4-game losing streak, and it started, Dan, when they lost that 20-point lead at Duke early in the second half and couldn't hang on there in Cameron Indoor and lost 3 successive games after that.
Well, you have to admit that they played at Duke, then they played North Carolina and Florida State, so those were 3 pretty tough games. The Clemson loss is one that really, really hurts when you're fighting for an at-large bid or being considered for an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. You have to beat the teams below you in the standings as a minimum, and NC State wasn't able to get that done against the Tigers.
Miami is just 3 of 17 from long distance in the game as the shot clock goes inside of 10. There is Larkin, wants the 3, they miss again. After making 9 in the win against Florida State, they have only 3 made three-pointers in this one.
And the three-point basket is such an important part of Miami. You know, the last time they played NC State, when they lost at home, they only made 2 of 20. He's better than 2 of 20. I mean, this is a guy, Scott Wood, that even though he may not make a basket for a long time, you have to stay with him because when he gets the opportunity, he can be deadly.
77 made three-pointers on the season for Wood. Second best in the ACC.
Now Miami finds themselves here in a little bit of a danger zone. North Carolina State equals their largest lead of the game. Oh, wow.
Off the glass, long range 3, Darius Adams.
And Jim Larinaga over there with an expression on his face like, what?
I think everybody has that expression on their face after he backed that one in.
You know, we heard him say a little bit earlier talking to the referees, what are you talking about? Well, he might have been over there thinking, what are you thinking about? Because Darius Adams shooting that one, but it went in.
Rim rocket on the feed from Alex Johnson.
And Johnson again with that dribble penetration, that causes the defense to shift. And when the defense shifts, Richard Howell is really good at finding the open spot inside.
Tough fake at a basket for Daquan Jones. Now with 6 down. Off the bench for Miami. Haynes hanging around, down by 4.
Seen Miami use some zone today in man-to-man that time, and Mark Gottfried wants to talk about it. And I think one of the reasons Mark Gottfried called that timeout is, you know, he only plays 7 guys, and he's had Richard Howell in foul trouble a lot tonight, and C.J. Williams missed some time while they were checking him out with that injury, so his guys may need a little break here.
Let's take a look at the Jamison N scores from around the league. North Carolina with that victory, now tied at the top of the ACC with Duke, which beat Wake Forest yesterday, Georgia Tech and BC, and it's the Eagles who get the win, 56-52. You know, BC has a couple of good wins as well, Dan. They beat Florida State also.
And one of the things we've been talking about all season, all game long, is what's the status of the various teams here. The RPI, that's the overall strength, and then the strength of schedule is on the right there. And you can see our two teams tonight. Miami, a 51 RPI. You know, that's borderline. NC State 73, that's a little high. Both teams have played very good schedules. The key now is to keep winning games.
One game remaining for both teams. Wolfpack will be at Virginia Tech. That is Howell, who will earn a couple of free throws when we come back. Timeout in Raleigh. Reggie Johnson, 10 points in the game, but his team trails. Line.
Foul on Johnson.
Yep. Third on Johnson, by the way.
From the band, Cameron Batchelor, Alex Bell, Jordan Herrera.
So if today...
Sophie Gustafson, David Higgins, Fred Hussey, Andrew Jarman, Nathan Jones, Christian Lawrence, Allison Lorati, Andrew Mills, Joseph Moyer, Sarah Norma, Charles T. and Richard Thorne. From the cheerleaders,
Wood. What's that? Second half? 62% second half. Okay. So I'm teeing up Scott Wood. Oh, he's the Bass Pro Shop in the net. Let's look at our Bass Pro Shop in the net featuring Scott Wood. Let's see, 212 career threes. He's got 4 threes. He's 4 of 8. That's a little odd. Let's look at our Bass Pro Shop in the net featuring Scott Wood.
Scott Wood, when he puts it in the net, lots of times he's putting it in the net from beyond the three-point arc. He's done that 4 times tonight. This is his 1 3-point basket in the second half, and he's a guy who just keeps looking for his shot. And if you give him any room at all, he is extremely dangerous.
212 career three-pointers for Wood. That is 4th best in school history. 27 straight games with a 3 for Wood.
And Richard Howell misses that free throw, but he's starting to assert himself a little bit on the inside. Now, of course, he's able to play and in foul trouble early in the game. 4 of those 5 rebounds, offensive rebounds. Boy, NC State now 6 for 14 from the free throw line as a team. That's not a good number in a close game.
They shoot 72% of the season, 4th in the ACC. It's Larkin making his move, and an offensive foul against Larkin.
And Alex Johnson, we've talked about the game he's had distributing the ball. He's got 6 assists, but this time he just does a great job moving his feet, establishes his position, facing the dribbler, and Larkin goes right into him. And that's almost an automatic call when the dribbler hits the defender in the torso with that shoulder. Nice job by Johnson.
NC State hot from the floor here in the second half, 62%.
They've gotten really good shot opportunities. Oh, Johnson just picked up his 4th foul, just stuck his arm out there. And that's the aggressiveness of Richard Howell. He sees Johnson's guarding him, he tries to go right around him. And Reggie didn't move his feet that time. He stuck out his arm, and the officials caught him. So that's 4 fouls on Reggie Johnson. So going to the bench for Miami, that's 10 points and 7 rebounds. And Kenny Cobb Kaji, interestingly enough, who comes in the game for him. Kaji only 3 of 12 shooting today. Kaji has really struggled, only has 7 points.
Williams. The senior gets a nice round of applause for his effort.
And Richard Howe's asking for the ball on the inside. He feels like he can make a move on Darius Adams in there.
Out of bounds, and it will stay at this end of the floor. Shot clock is at 12. 18 wins for Mark Gottfried this year, second most by a first-year head coach. Howell working hard inside. Johnson is open for 3.
Johnson doesn't shoot a high percentage, but Richard Howell with another offensive rebound. And Jim Larinaga calls timeout. He can feel this one slipping away. And Scott Wood coming off that screen. Wood has not made a 2-point shot all night, but here's Richard Howell getting the rebound and then making a great decision to find Alex Johnson, who we mentioned he shoots under 33% on the season, but he really stepped into that one.
Dan Bonner got his first basket of the contest this evening. Great work by Howell, who has 5 offensive rebounds, and his team up 57-49.
And again, his team was denied the services of Richard Howell for much of the game because he was in foul trouble. Picked up 2 early fouls in the first half, then picked up the 3rd foul when he had to come back in the first half. So he has missed a lot of time, but he's really asserting himself, particularly with Reggie Johnson now out of the game.
So this is the largest lead of the game for NC State. Miami had a 6-point lead at the 18-28 mark.
Now Miami did, but that's when they got into that little rut where they started taking bad shots on the offensive end, and NC State was able to get out in transition and really make the Hurricanes play with some poor decisions on offense.
Shot clock for 10. Adams had to kick it out. Brown. Follow there by Adams. Darius Adams, 5 off the bench for Miami. Williams in this. Brown. 3-pointer. Ryan Brown.
He had a lot of time. Miami hasn't really played that well in transition, but that time Ryan Brown had all day to shoot the ball. Brown's too good a 3-point shooter to give him that much time.
Second 3 of the game for Ryan Brown. Now with 8 points. Wolfpack 4th best in the conference from long distance. It's Wood again, but this time he misses. Inside of 8 minutes to go, Dan. Offensive foul against Durant Scott. And it was Alex Johnson who absorbed the contact. 3-pointers by the Canes. Ryan Brown makes it a 3-point game. Nice little comeback here by Miami. Lead got to 8.
Yeah, but he really had a chance to cut into another really bad offensive play.
Yeah. I'm watching.
What are we watching?
Congratulations for being selected.
8.
This is the
The 83 banner? Okay. Right. You know, in the tournament, they really should have lost in the first round. They beat Pepperdine in double overtime. Yep. And historic basket. 74 also.
Every now and then.
15. Sound full on goal. We'll bring him underneath it.
9. Except when you're going to the
8,
beach, right?
7,
6.
6. I've got you out of them.
4. 3 to go.
3,
2. 1. And roll.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by BB&T, by Food Lion, by AT&T, and by Motel 6. The championship trophy from 1983. The rich tradition and history of NC State basketball. Also won the ACC tournament that year as well.
You think the ACC tournament isn't important anymore? That year, North Carolina State would not have received an at-large bid. I think they were the 6th seed in the ACC tournament that year, and they came there from there and won the ACC tournament, got the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, and then swept through the NCAA tournament. In fact, that was the team that changed college basketball, because just about every game in the NCAA tournament they were behind, and they fouled, and teams missed the one-on-one, and so that's why we now have the rule that after 10 fouls it's 2 shots, because that was the movement strategy.
Wow, with a scoop to the hoop.
But Brown is a guy who can really finish in traffic. That was a tough shot. Nice pass, good cut, great finish.
Lorenzo Brown now with 12 points.
And he's finding the basket a little more frequently here. He's had a tough night shooting all around.
In the corner is Adams. Scott.
Adams wasn't able to bank that one. Now Ryan Brown, he can get hawked from the outside. They're doing a nice job finding him out beyond the three-point arc. You've got to get out and pressure him, make him dribble the ball, try to drive it past you. Miami's hanging in there despite the fact that they haven't shot the ball well. They've made enough threes here in the second half to hang close.
3 for 6 from three-point range for Brown, and a 2-point game. NC State had built an 8-point lead. It is down to 2 with the shot clock at 6. Alex Johnson. Tipped up and in. Richard Howell.
Now Kenny Kaji had switched and he was jumping out at the three-point shooter, so Howell and Wesley, they had to feel like it was a holiday on the inside. NC State drops back into a zone.
Miami has won 7 of its last 10 ball games, including the win against Florida State, the marquee win against Duke, trying to win for the first time ever in Raleigh. Out of bounds, back to Miami.
Mark Godfrey knows that was a really important possession. His team could have really put the pressure on Miami with the score. He's telling them it's okay, let's just guard now. Darius Adams goes out and Daquan Jones comes in. Looks like North Carolina State is staying in that zone, and then you go to the zone so you can prevent that dribble penetration which is causing the defense to collapse. Allow guys like Ryan Brown the opportunity to shoot those threes.
This Miami team is trying to return to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2008. NC State has not been since 2006. Straight away, long distance, Malcolm Grant.
Wow, man. Straight away, but my goodness. He was far away in addition to being straight away.
He lined it up, knocked it down, 3 3-point baskets in the game for Malcolm Grant. And it's a 1-point game. The Pack cannot shake the Canes down.
Well, they're scoring 2 and the Canes are scoring 3s.
Wood guarded closely there by Ryan Brown.
Let's see if he can find Leslie inside.
Howell.
Well, he's having a big game here in the second half. He's got 10 points now.
7 rebounds to go along with those 10 points.
That's despite limited minutes because of foul problem.
Durant. Floater. Tapped around. Out of bounds. It's going to stay with Miami.
Well, it's interesting. That's the shot that Miami has struggled with more than any other tonight. They're trying to get in the lane and score the basket.
38% of the night for Jim Laranaga's team.
Tough shooting. Kenny Kaji's had a tough shooting night. 3 for 12. And he hasn't been able to knock down a three, and that's usually a staple of his game. That was a
Out of bounds, staying with the Wolfpack. Lorenzo Brown with 12 points on the night, 6 in each half.
Now Brown has really been effective, particularly in the second half with that penetration off the dribble.
Inside of 4 minutes to go. NC State looking for its 4th straight win of the series. Brown needs to put it up. Drives, body control and basket.
It's exactly what we're talking about. He has really been effective driving the ball to the basket in the second half. Now Miami really needs to score. Pressure's on right here. NC State back to the man-to-man.
Lorenzo Brown is now 7 of 12 from the floor in the game. Kaji knocked out of bounds by the rising C.J. Leslie. Lorenzo Brown with the shot clock running down. Slices in and beats it. 5-point lead for the Wolfpack. So you got Tom Lorenzo's assist. Lorenzo Brown. Five. Okay. He's got 7. Motel 6. Motel 6. Oh man, I'm gonna mess this up. Motel 6. 6th man. Ryan Brown. Got it. What do we got for Ryan Brown?
11 points.
Okay, Alex Johnson at 7. Four rebounds, 11 points. 3 of 6 from 3. All right. How many minutes has he played? Do you have minutes for Ryan Brown? 22 minutes, nice.
They changed the ink cartridge.
About time, man.
Nice. Out of red, we'll do the Miami transition off to the front over 2. 6, 5 to red with music.
4,
3, 2, 1, and roll red up.
The Motel 6, 6th man, Ryan Brown for Miami, 11 points, 3 of 6 from long distance.
And he's really helped keep the Hurricanes in this game on a night when teammates Shane Larkin, Kenny Kaji are struggling offensively. Ryan Brown has 11 points, as you mentioned, 3 3-point baskets.
22 minutes of action off that Miami bench for Ryan Brown. Foul on the play against NC State.
Boy, that was an optimistic play, throwing it up on the lob with guys like Leslie and Brown and Howell back there. But Ryan Brown is a guy who can really get up in the air. I thought that was actually a poorly thrown lob. He had to go down and get it rather than up and get it. Big free throws.
Dan, did he back that one in? Like one of his three quarters? No, that was Gary Adams.
Exactly. Thank you, three quarters. At this point, you don't care. Miami now trying to apply a little bit of pressure.
Leslie, blocked by Kaji.
Really good defensive play.
Durant Scott. He was fouled prior to the block by Leslie. It appeared that Lorenzo Brown.
Yeah, I think Brown got him, and that, NC State for the most part has done a pretty good job preventing the kind of dribble penetration that Miami has been looking for. And Brown was in excellent position. Had he not stuck his hand in there, that's no foul.
So Durant Scott at the free throw line. First attempt of the night.
Yeah, he's one of the top free throw shooters for Miami, 80% on the season.
Also has a career-high 9 rebounds in the game. Although Charlie's fan of the game. The NC State crowd has turned out for this final home game of the regular season. Sombreros and all.
I'd say that's an interesting choice of headgear.
As long as you know the person behind you, you're okay. You don't obstruct anybody's view here at RBC. That's a couple of free throws for Durant Scott, 8 points in total.
And NC State, they just can't get away. The Hurricanes stay after it.
1-point game. Howell turns and fires.
Howell now has 12 points in the game, and that little jump shot from the foul line area has been his most effective weapon here in the second half. Kaji's going to have to come out and guard that.
Scott. Follow. Got it back for a third time. Wrestling with Leslie. Held ball situation. It will favor Miami.
How many times have we seen tonight the Miami guys get close to the basket, get the ball up on the rim, but they just can't get it over the rim and in the basket? Right there, he's all the way to the rim, the tip. And he continues the battle, and Miami keeps the ball on the alternating possession. But I bet you that's 8 times that we've seen that play.
Quick trigger, foul on the play. On the shot by Ryan Brown.
And would that be a 3 or 2?
That's the third foul on Scott Wood.
A 2-shot foul. And the way Ryan Brown has shot the ball, you're going to have to get out on him. You don't want to foul him, but you got to pressure him. And he's only a 60% free throw shooter in conference play. Although he's been much better than that tonight.
Larinaga on the left. Gottfried on the right. NC State looking for the season sweep after its win in late January in Coral Gables. 15 points now for Ryan Brown. Off that Miami bench in the second half.
Miami's been doing it from the free throw line. It's been a while, about 3-4 minutes since they've scored a field goal.
Foul on the play against the Canes over the top.
That's Kenny Kaji picking up the foul.
Third on Kaji, Dan. You mentioned that field goal drought by the Canes. Their last field goal came at the 5:29 mark. 0 for 5 during that stretch. Reggie Johnson's on the bench with 4 personals in the warm-up suit. Richard Howell now has 13. Wood will leave. C.J. Williams, the senior, comes in. his last go-around on the RBC Center floor as a senior for this Wolfpack program.
Godfrey, I think, doing a little bit of offense-defense substitution here. Williams in the game for defensive purposes, and NC State hadn't shot the ball well from the free throw line, but Howell makes two big ones there. Scott looking to get in the lane against Johnson. Grant for three, shot! Malcolm Grant has found the touch. That's 4 3-point baskets in the game for Grant.
NC State calls a timeout as Malcolm Grant has tied this game at 69.
Just a little dribble handoff there by Duran Scott, and Malcolm Grant flows right into that shot. Grant, as we mentioned, throughout his career, a very high percentage three-point shooter, much lower this year, but he's had the range tonight.
Dan, beginning tomorrow, it's the ACC Women's Basketball Tournament from the Greensboro Coliseum. Tune in to see the great coaches, players, and plays as all 12 teams battle it out to see who will reign as the 2012 champions of the ACC. Coverage begins 11 a.m. on your regional sports network with Duke as the two-time defending champs at the ACC tournament. They are the #1 seed once again in Greensboro.
And that 11 a.m., that's an appointment that you have.
I will be there. Happy to be there. Very excited about the women's ACC tournament. I'll have a chance to work with Stephanie Reddy tomorrow. Debbie Antonelli will be there along with our colleague Mike Hogwood, Christy Winter-Scott also. We got the whole team over there in Greensboro. We can't wait to crank it up. 13th straight season at the women's tournament will be played out in Greensboro, North Carolina. The 35th annual Women's ACC Tournament Championship.
Now with NC State on offense, one of the reasons Mark Godfrey called that timeout was to get Scott Wood back in the game.
Right at 69. Wood, catch, fire!
There you go. That makes the coach look pretty good, doesn't it? You put that guy in the game, you run a play for him, and he carries it.
Inside of a minute to go. Packed by 3. Miami with the ball.
Need a hoop. Jim Larnega calls timeout. Boy, that's a huge basket by Scott Wood. That really puts the pressure on Miami. Not only do you make a basket, but you make a three. And Scott Wood right here, he sets the screen and then comes out to the corner. And with all that congestion inside, they just lose him. There's another screen for him, so he sets a screen and then he gets a screen. And he's wide open, and if you're going to leave him that open, he's going to make most of them, and that is a big shot in a big situation.
Ryan Brown just a split second late, and now Scott Wood is 5 for 10 from downtown tonight at RBC.
Now Ryan Brown was a split second late because Richard Howell set a screen, and Richard Howell's a hard guy to get around. And now with that timeout by Miami, Wood's out of the game, and C.J. Williams is in. NC State has shot the ball extremely well, 60% field goal percentage in this half. But now they've got to do it on the defensive end.
Scott. Johnson fell down. Haji for 3. Offensive foul. Jones.
The shot clock is off.
30 seconds to go in a 1-point game.
And that's a foul by Malcolm Grant. He was looking over at Jim Larnega to see if Jim Larnega wanted them to foul. Durant Scott didn't realize that he had an open opportunity inside, and Kenny Kaji had to step inside the 3. Nice rebound by Durant Scott.
Kaji was awfully close to traveling there as well, Dan.
It sure was. And Alex Johnson, he hadn't been to the free throw line very much this year. In ACC play only 8 times, but he's made 7 of them. And he has had a tremendous game tonight as well, and these are big free throws.
Johnson now with 4 points to go along with a career-high 8 assists.
He's taken a couple of charges. He's been a big, big factor for the Wolfpack.
This is also his last game as a graduate student, first year in the program. His final game on this floor, he makes them both.
And that really keeps the pressure on. Now, if you're Miami, you do not have to go to the three-point basket here. But whatever you do, you have to do it very quickly.
And Scott steps into the lane. And a foul against the Pack, and that was Johnson who hit the deck.
Johnson, we've mentioned, he's drawn a couple of charges, trying to draw one right. Nice job by Miami to push the ball up the court quickly. Never really gets his feet set in front of the dribbler. You have to have your feet set facing the dribbler. Both feet on the floor facing the dribbler, and I don't think Johnson ever really got himself in that position.
Miami is in the bonus. NC State in the double bonus. Durant, Scott at the free throw line. 2 for 2 on the night from the line. Larkin comes back in along with Adams. Haji leaves, as does Malcolm Grant.
Durant Scott, as we mentioned, gets to the free throw line a great deal, and he's an 80% free throw shooter, 3 out of 3 tonight. NC 79.3% on the season, over 80% in ACC play.
9th best free throw shooter in the conference.
Now you'd like to get a foul, and Mark Godfrey is going to call the timeout. And one of the reasons he's calling the timeout, it's very important for NC State not only to get the ball in bounds, but the question becomes who catches the ball in bounds, because in all probability that person's going to be fouled. So you'd like to have one of your better free throw shooters, Scott Wood if possible, Alex Johnson catch the ball on the inbounds pass. C.J. Leslie, as we mentioned, only on the season a 62% free throw shooter. Richard Howell, 67%.
The updated standings in the ACC. Miami trying to get one of those top 4 seeds. NC State looking for a marquee win. This would be nice as they head towards the tournament.
And NC State still has a shot at that number 4 seed.
They have to play at Virginia Tech on Sunday. For Miami, it's a Saturday game hosting Boston College. Then we go to Atlanta for the ACC tournament, 59th annual. Gottfried and Larinaga, a couple of first-year head coaches, going head-to-head here at the RBC Center, right down to the final seconds. One timeout for each team. Double bonus for the Wolfpack. They have the possession arrow.
So C.J. Leslie out of the ball game. C.J. Williams, who on the season is an 80% free throw shooter. There's Leslie on the season. He's 62.
He leads all scorers with those 20 points. Ryan Brown has 15 and leads Miami. Larkin saved it in the corner. Scott puts it up. Bounces off. Howell had it for a second. Now a foul on the play.
You know, Scott had more time than that, Tom. He was in a big hurry. An outstanding play by Larkin. And Durant Scott decided to take the ball right to the basket. This is a tremendous job by Shane Larkin. Not only does he get it, but he saves it. And then Durant Scott just gets going too fast. He's got plenty of time. He's going to take it here. Now he's off balance and stumbling to the basket. Shoots a tough shot with his left hand and then commits the foul against Richard Howell. Larkin made the great tip and then just laid out to tap that ball back in bounds. Right, so Howell, he struggled at the line today, and this is the first one. Howell now 4 for 9 from the free throw line today. You can see 67% on the season. This is a big one right here.
NC State been 11 of 21 from the line. This could give Mark Gottfried's team
short.
The 2-quarter advantage. What will happen? They get the ball back. They get it right back. And a foul.
That's one of those situations where it was such a bad miss it actually ended up working out for North Carolina State because the Miami guys could not control the ball, and it rebounded right to C.J. Leslie. And you got to give Leslie a lot of credit. He got rid of it right away, forced Miami to chase. And now Lorenzo Brown, he's a 75% free throw shooter, so a really nice play by C.J. Leslie. Golden opportunity for Miami.
Points for Lorenzo Brown.
Well, you had everything you could want if you were Miami. They went to the line, they missed 2 free throws, you just can't get the rebound.
16 now for Brown, 2 or 3 from the line.
You got to go quickly. Miami called a timeout before the ball was inbounded. Jim Larinaga pointing out to the officials that the clock started. It's very loud in here. It's difficult for the officials to hear, so they'll put 12.6 back on. Miami, that was their last timeout. I think that they granted that timeout before the ball was thrown in. And there was 12.6 seconds left on the clock. And the officials are over at the monitor. They're going to look at this and talk about this. But 12.6 is how much time there was left on the clock.
He's trying to make sure that the timing is correct.
Now the question becomes, first of all, when was that timeout granted? If the officials are over there looking, that means the timeout wasn't granted before the ball was thrown in bounds, because that's pretty clear right there. If the timeout was granted before the ball was thrown in bounds, there's 12.6 seconds left. But that becomes what the question is when was the timeout granted? It's not when it was requested, it's when it was granted.
The Wolfpack has won all 5 previous meetings here in Raleigh between the teams. They've won 4 of the last 5 and 3 in a row. Trying to make it 4 in a row. Just how far away they are from potential victory is still yet to be determined as they lead by 3.
Now some time ran off the clock after the timeout was granted. Clearly, it appears, at least with the officials over there continuing to look at the monitor, that it was not requested and granted before the ball was inbounded. If it was requested and granted before the ball was inbounded, then there's 12.6 seconds left. But obviously it wasn't, so now they're trying to figure out just how much time is left in the game.
So Brown makes the second free throw.
All right, this is going to be a pretty good angle. Jim Larinaga calls timeout right there. And the official grants it there.
Set the game clock to 12-3.
12.3 is what they're going to put back on there.
What's that? No.
Jim Larinaga saying, well, wait a minute, didn't I call timeout before the ball was inbounded? And they're telling him no. And now Jim Larinaga telling his players no timeouts. So they've got to get the ball in bounds, first of all. And then there's not a lot of time here. Now Bernard Clinton over there explaining things to Mark Godfrey. I don't think anybody's satisfied, but we're going to get started.
Walking to inbounds.
If you're NC State, you really want to defend the 3 here.
Marker, give it off. Grant, top 3. Leslie grabs it. And a foul. 1.2 to go.
Now the Miami bench is complaining that some additional time ran off the clock after that whistle blew. That was a very, very difficult three-point shot.
So So the clock shows 1.2.
Yeah, but see, the officials are wearing those packs on their belts, so when they blow the whistle, the clock is supposed to stop. There's the jump shot. Tough shot. Rebound, and the foul called right there. And obviously those little packs that they have didn't work because it was clear that the clock ran after the whistle.
So once again, the officials are at the scorer's table.
Well, and at most, they're going to put a few tenths of a second back on. And this is a situation where if C.J. Leslie makes one of these free throws, it's a moot point anyway.
C.J. Leslie's had quite a night. 20 points, 11 rebounds as Alex Johnson senses victory here in Raleigh.
So they're going to put 3.1 is what the officials decide happened.
So it'll be Leslie going to the free throw line where he is 5 of 9 on the night.
Now that isn't a problem. I want to stress that. That's not a problem with the shot clock or the clock operator, because the officials wear packs on their belts that when they blow the whistle, that's supposed to stop the clock. But it did not in that situation. Nice job by this crew to get it right. But Leslie here can make it all. Okay, doesn't matter now.
He had missed his last 4 free throw attempts. That one gives him 21 points, 11 rebounds, a double-double, 5th of the season, 9th of his career for C.J. Leslie.
And Mark Godfrey finally knows that he's got this one in the bag.
Final seconds. That'll do it. 77-73. Mark Gottfried's team moves its 4th in a row against Miami and snaps a 4-game losing streak with the win here at RBC against the Canes, also getting